It's all I wanna do.
Hello everyone, this is F1 Channel here, and we're back with F1
Just before the free practice session begins, let's take a quick look at the Drivers' Championship.
I think this is the first Grand Prix
Schumacher is leading the Drivers' Championship and attempting to complete a hat-trick of victories here at Interlagos.
Standings.
Well, that covers the drivers. Let's take a quick look at the constructors next.
As a team.
Ferrari lead the Constructors' Championship and arrive here having finished a legendary 1-2 in the last race. Can they do it again? Williams are second. McLaren are third.
It's called Interlagos because it runs between the lakes, not your freshwater lakes with plenty of water skiing and swimming, but Lake São Paulo style. When the west wind blows, you always face east. I love it though, I love Interlagos. I've been going there since the mid-1970s when samba still dominated the radio, the sun always seemed to shine, and dust filled the air where concrete now lies. It was a titanic circuit back then, and you can still see why on the Google map of 2014. Here's the first corner, a bank kink to the left that was flat out if you had grip and the right sort of mindset. We'd stand by the pit counter, up towards the corner entry, listening to the engine notes. There was no left foot braking back then, just a slight feathering of the throttle, or not. Then the road ran downhill through another flat-out left-hand bank kink, down the back straight into a tight, positive camber left-hander where, late in the race, the track was prone to crumbling. The track then ran back towards the infield as we know it today, through a tight left and then a right into the incomparable Curva del Sol, a long, medium-speed, constant radius right-hander through which the cars either massively understeered or could be powered around with arms full of opposite lock. Very rarely were they just neutral. We'd watch from the bank above Ronnie Peterson and Emerson in the JPS Lotus, James Hunt in the McLaren M23, Carlos Reutemann and Moko Pache in the Brabhams, Patrick Depailler, Jody Scheckter in the Tyrrells, Tom Price, Jean-Pierre Jarier in the Shadows. Dazzling stuff. Then came another section I always loved. The track looped back on itself as it climbed up the hillside, through another tightish left-hander, down a straight and then into the uphill right-hander we know today. Only difference then was that the cars would be running in the opposite direction, only a few yards away to your right. It was like a figure-eight track without the flyover. The last part of the lap was as we know it today, except that Interlagos back then was always bumpy, always treacherous. This fast downhill left-hander was, and still is, one of the most demanding on the circuit, and of course the tighter left is technically critical in that it penalises down the straight even the smallest of errors. Today's lap begins with that very tight Senna S section of road, a steeply declining left-hander followed immediately by a quicker right-hander. It's spectacular, it induces errors both in traffic and in terms of late braking, and of course it's much safer than the old bank turn 1. The double apex left-hander at the end of the back straight isn't dissimilar to its old counterpart and leads onto what I now think is the best corner on the circuit, the classic uphill right-hander before the infield. The car's carrying a lot of lateral load as it slows for the first tight right here, so feel and touch are everything. This for sure will be a Lewis, Bottas, Fernando, Daniel type corner. Up and down the hill, past the place where Ayrton famously spun into straight retirement in 1994, and then down towards those two last demanding corners. Interlagos has no easy sections of road, other than those two long straights, of course. Interlagos, and a nearby road, is now also named after José Carlos Pache, the very quick Brazilian who drove for Frank Williams, John Surtees and Brabham in Formula One, and won the 75 Grand Prix at Interlagos in his Gordon Murray-designed Brabham BT44B. I knew Moko well, and always thought it a strange irony that he and his wife, Elda, lived in Eccleston Square, just behind Victoria Station. He used to wear dark green velvet jackets, black flared trousers and polo necks. Elda was, and probably still is, a statuesque Brazilian with long, straight hair. He was managed by a charming little guy called Chico, who's still to be seen in the Interlagos paddock today. Carlos died in a private twin-engine aircraft in bad weather in Brazil in early '77. He started from the front row in his last race, the South African Grand Prix, but had to make 2 pit stops for new tyres, so knife-edgy was the Brabham Alpha. We lost Tom Price in that race at Kyalami, so the sadness was indescribable as we assembled for Carlos's memorial service in Mayfair. It was attended by virtually the entire Formula One world and hundreds of friends and admirers. Most Formula One people today arrive at the circuit unaware of what Carlos Pache was like or what Interlagos was like when it was part oval, part amazing road course, of what it looked like to watch them balancing an F1 car on the absolute oversteering edge through the Curva del Sol, minutely adjusting the throttle and the steering load as the drift touched perfection. Today's top drivers are no less skillful. It's just that it's now much harder to see their art, which is why turns 6 and 7, that uphill fast right-hander, will be my main vantage point in 2014.
So after that introduction, we get on to the grid. I've got a pole, and so we get on 4, 5, and the lights are down, and away we go. And Brazil went through again. That's all, as always. But get separating, spreading the needle between Schumacher and Kufa. There's a yellow flag behind them. Fighting out the leaders, but sadly they didn't crash. So the best part is that we got away in the first place out of the first corner. Can we be winning this Grand Prix our first pole ever? We're currently leading. This is a very, very, very nice beginning to our race, but it's a have a win. 5 points. That's a pretty I'm sure that has 20. In order to win over the course of the season, we will push like hell. Yeah, I'm truly saying that's what we can around. So as you can see, I'm sorry I'm shocked, not to mention it's starting to rain just about. So I went on put those intermediate tires on, and really I went for shots. I just couldn't understand how to do really put on those shots.
You're running first.
Maybe they are useless in these conditions. Maybe they are quicker, but as you can see, they're definitely not. So it's only coming stronger than they will have to pit. It's a pretty stupid decision. As I'm leading by 2 seconds it's the cool 5, and now it's Michael Schumacher. So there's a fight between them as we go
Ferrari,
into the last
already
corner,
in the
and
pits.
Ferrari's going to the pits.
McLaren already in the pit.
And there's always also going to pit. So it's pretty good for us right now. We are going to continue on going in this fast pace with the Inters, which was clearly a better strategy.
You're running
decision.
first.
I am running in
VAR,
last
already in the pit.
VAR as well going into the pit.
Jordan
So
already in the pit.
I just checked
Renault already in the pit.
to pit. Who knows?
Arrows
How that may
already
be
in the pit.
Who knows?
Jaguar,
Schumacher has been in that process a bit later, 3.5 minutes or so, and beautiful runs. And you can see how quickly the gap is closing now. He was on the strong line, he pushed 20 seconds behind. This is literally the second lap. And he's closing that gap down. Hand over fist. Now we can really saw. I was really scared of that at that point, you know, so it's only 2 seconds. That's what we need to it's 5, 3, 2. So
You're running first.
and then I kind of get
12 laps remaining.
tires. I didn't bet on the next lap. So we're bidding for wets as well as Michael Schumacher did. But I'm thinking that he gonna get ahead of me. I'm almost sure. You can see Juan Pablo Montoya, who retired at one point of the race. So that's bad for Williams, as we were running quite strongly. He's double points finishing.
You're running first.
13.1 seconds. That was
10 laps
terrible
remaining.
pit stop by Williams pit crew. I really didn't like that. Who likes the game? Such a long pit stop. I was kinda I'm very sorry. I was feeling lots of state. There's a better one Inters, but as you can see I came in second. Actually 4 seconds behind, so it's a force. It's the best possible gets getaways out of pit lane, but you know tricky. Since the qualifying happened on dry day, it was really easy to take these two corners, but first 1 or 2 laps was filled. Worse
Second.
than Intas, but now we've come on to the back line that nation. Now look at top left corner as they were qualified immediately. Which should happen in 5 seconds right now. It's 2.2 seconds. The gap between followers. Look, he just immediately about 3 seconds behind me, so it was McNeese or someone who was in a mistake, but you can still try to the track is pretty dry pretty much right now. Now look at Mark Webber. What on the world is he doing? He was fighting me to not get out. What are you doing for a second place
Arrows.
runner?
Already in the pits.
18th and not 18th, 20th. So frustrating to see that happen. As we go into the last corner, it's very unstable, those wets. You can see Rubens Barrichello's.
Jaguar. Already in the pits.
Everyone is going to pit. So the guys who put wets are going to put them.
Michael Schumacher. The race leader is entering the pits now.
No, it's a warning for me. But I think that it's only 3 laps. I will
You're
be
running
on.
first.
Schumacher will
3
be 10
laps
seconds
to go.
behind me, so but that mistake. Look at the gap. Barrichello is getting closer and closer as the track is getting pretty much dry. Even for Intas,
You're running first.
the track is getting quite
2 laps
dry.
remaining.
But it's only 2 laps to go. Can we defend it? Can we get our first win of the season?
Silver. Already in the pits.
To the straight.
Renson has just put up the fastest lap of the race.
We just pitted, put up the fastest
VAR.
lap of the
Already
race.
in the pits.
So it's very good. Everyone is pitting. It's lap 18 out of 19. Can we defend? Rubens Barrichello is behind me only 2 tenths of a second.
Coulthard has just put up the fastest lap of the race.
Who has pitted, put up a fast lap. He's 8th. Can he do anything with what they did? No, that's not me.
Minardi. Already in the pits.
Rubens Barrichello is just behind me.
Jordan. Already in the
I
pits.
slide out of that corner and look
Rubens
at the traction
Barrichello
into me.
has taken the lead.
I had just no chance.
Ferrari.
Barrichello
Already in the
pitted
pits.
on lap 3.
McLaren. Already in
Which
the
meant
pits.
he ran out of fuel.
Arrows. Already in the pits.
As well as Raikkonen behind me. So I'm going
Barrichello
to
is in the pits
the
now.
lead.
You're running
Brazilian
first.
Grand Prix, 1 lap
You're on
to
the
go.
final lap. Don't stop now.
It's the final lap.
Renault. Already in the pits.
Final 1.
Jaguar. Already in the pits.
I'm struggling like a cow on ice. And look at that. Michael Schumacher
Toyota.
is behind
Already
me.
in the
He put
pits.
2 laps to go for those Inters. This is just the base difference in the blue Inters. But I've learned the lesson. I'm gonna hit the inside line and not
Sauber.
let the
Already in the
Ferrari
pits.
go to the inside. If he wants, he's gonna have to go around the outside where I'm gonna squeeze him out. I'm not letting this position. I'm going to win this Grand Prix, and that's my win. Take the inside line. You can see him being quite frustrated. There's no place to overtake. Now going on to this another place where he can overtake us. We're going to take the inside line once again. Getting him off the little slide, but cannot power early enough. Going on into the last corner. Can we win the Brazilian Grand Prix? And we slide. And Ferrari gets ahead of us. Only 1 corner left to go, which means that Michael Schumacher wins the Brazilian Grand Prix. And we come home in second. Wow.
Schumacher has won the race.
What an
Well
amazing
done, you
Grand
finished
Prix
second.
this was. This was the best Grand Prix, best race I ever raced on a computer game.
Barry Kelly has finished in third position.
This is only against
Raikkonen
this
has
is
finished fourth.
clearly the best
David
race.
Coulthard has
I
finished in fifth position.
Hats down to Michael Schumacher.
At the
Wow.
end of an amazing Brazilian
As
Grand
you can
Prix,
see,
here
you
are the
know,
final results. Schumacher first.
Coulthard got fifth.
The Williams
So,
driver
everyone
second.
pitted as we get on to the championship
With the results
standings,
confirmed, it's
where
high
I
time
am
we
in
updated the
third.
Drivers' Championship.
29 points.
Michael
Sorry,
Schumacher
99
extends his lead at the top of the Drivers'
Not good. I
Championship.
want to win this championship, and I'm going to try and do it in the next few races.
Ferrari
As we go into
increased
the
their lead at the
standings,
top
but
of the Constructors'
that's the end of it.
Championship.
Goodbye.
Williams are second, whilst third place is held by McLaren.